Hi viewers, good morning one and all. So today we are going to discuss exempted incomes under section 10 part 3. In the previous two classes we discussed part 1 and part 2. So it is a little bit a big topic. Be patient for listening and useful topic while we are calculating our income tax. Okay, you observed today we are going to learn some exempted incomes. So here first one here, exemption under section 10 subsection 14 on specified benefits and allowances paid to an employee. Okay, here this section says that some specified benefits and allowances will be allowed to the employee by the employer. What are the benefits we are going to learn today? So here see, if an employee receives specified allowances and benefits from his employer for performing his employment related duties, such allowances and benefits would be exempted from tax. The list of allowances and benefits which are exempted under this section and their corresponding limits are mentioned below. So you observe carefully, these exemptions and allowances and benefits are given by the employer to the employee. The first one is here, children education allowances up to Indian rupee 100 per child per month for maximum of 2 children. Hostel expenditure allowance up to Indian rupee 300 per child per month for a maximum of 2 children. Transport allowances paid to blind or handicapped employees for their commute from resident to office and back. That is Indian rupee 3,200 per month per employee. Okay, the next one here, allowances paid to employees in the transport business for personal expenses incurred when running transport from one place to another. If a daily allowances is not already being paid to such employees in rupee 10,000 or 70 percentage of allowances are received, whichever is lower. Okay, then convenience allowances paid to employee for expenses incurred on the convenience for performing employment related duties up to actual cost of convenience incurred by the employee for official purpose. So you observe carefully under this section, these are the benefits for the employee while he is performing his job at the employer. Okay, then next you observe in this section only traveling allowance is paid to the employees to cover the cost of traveling incurred on business tours or transfer of employee up to the actual cost of travel incurred for business purpose. Okay, on business purpose sometimes what happens based on their performance, they will transfer these employees to another branch. Okay, to incur such expense, the traveling expenses also will be borne by the employer. Okay, if it is borne by the employee, then automatically it will be falls on the shoulder of the employer. Then it is also a benefit. And daily one allowance paid to employee to meet the expenses incurred by the employee when he or she is absent from the normal place of duty, up to the actual cost incurred for the official purpose. Okay, daily allowances. Every day, few allowances are allowed to the employees to meet the expenses incurred by employee when he or she absent from normal place of duty. Okay, when the normal place of duty they are absent, then it is allowed up to the actual expenses incurred from official purpose. Then helper or assistant allowance up to the actual amount incurred for official purpose. You observe in some departments, some helper or assistant allowance also allowed to the actual amount incurred for official purpose only. Research allowance to promote research of academic nature and any other professional pursuits up to the actual cost incurred on research for the official purpose. You observe University Grants Commission is giving any research allowances or research amount to the university professors or college lecturers or some few institutions like ICMR or CCMBA. Okay, for them while they are carrying the projects, some allowances are allocated in the previous. Okay, after completion or while doing the project only, these allowances will incur to them. The next uniform allowance up to the cost incurred on buying the uniform for official purpose. Okay, uniform allowances also. Special compensatory allowance for hilly areas subject to specified terms and conditions, that is Indian rupee 300 to Indian rupees 7,000 per month, depending upon different factors here. Okay, based on the different factor, some here hilly areas people also there. Hilly area means here the next you observe in the next one here, border area, difficult area, remote locality or disturbed area allowances subject to specified terms and conditions, that is Indian rupee 200 to 1300 rupees per month, depending on different factors. They are here. Tribal area allowances paid for Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Orissa, Assam and Tripura up to Indian rupee 200 per month. Okay, the next compensatory field area allowance subject to specified terms and location up to Indian rupee 2,600 per month. If this allowance is paid, border area allowance would not be exempted if paid to the employee. Okay, if they incurred in already, if they benefited, then automatically what happens? Then after the exempt, it will be not allowed. Okay, here these are the conditions you observe: border area, difficult area, remote locality, disturbed area. Okay, for them these type of allowances are incurred under this section. Then compensatory modified area allowance subject to specified terms and location up to Indian rupee 1,000 per month. If this allowance is claimed by employee, the border area allowance would not be exempted if paid to the employee. Okay, simultaneously these exemption is allowed only at once, only these allowances are allowed. So next one, counter insurgency allowance paid to member of armed forces subject to specified terms and location who are operating in areas which are away from their permanent location up to 3,900 rupees per month. Okay, the next, if this allowances is claimed by the employee, the border area allowances would not be exempted if paid to the individual. Okay, these allowances are incurred for the armed forces people. If they, in advance, if they claimed, then here what happens here? Counter insurgency allowances is not exempted for the second time, only for the first time only it is allowed. Then underground allowance paid to employees who work in an unnatural and uncongenial climate in underground mines up to Indian rupee 800 per month. You observe in Coal India Limited or here Singareni. Okay, they are working in unnatural, okay, uncongenial climate here. For them, 800 rupees per month is exempted under this section here. High altitude allowances paid to members of armed force subject to specified terms and locations who are operating in areas of high altitude. If altitude is 9,000 to 15,000 feet, and exemption allowance allowed is up to Indian rupee 1,060 rupees per month. If altitude is more than 15,000 feet, the exemption allowed is okay 1,600 per month. Okay, on hilly areas some people are working. Here you observe the height of the that hilly areas location will be there. Based on the feet also it will be calculated per month. These type of exemptions also allowed. Why these exemptions are given means here they are working at a high risk. Okay, they are working at a high risk, anything will happen. Okay, based on that observation, this allowance is allowed for them. The next one here, highly active field area allowance paid to employees of the armed forces subject to specified terms and locations up to rupees Indian rupee, that is 4,200 per month. Highly active field area. Highly active field area means here the chances are there to uh, happen a war between the different country and our country, nearby countries, or anything is going to happen at any second. The area we called it as a highly active field area allowances. For them also these type of allowances are allowed. Then island duty paid to the members of armed subject to specified terms and locations who are working in Andaman and Nicobar Islands and in Lakshadweep groups of island up to Indian rupee 3,250 per month. Okay, the next here, exemption under section 10 subsection 15 on interest income. There are different types of interest income on which exemption can be claimed under section 10 subsection 15. Okay, each income is specified under subsections of section 1015 along with the type of taxpayer who can claim the exemption. The different subsections of the 10 subsection 15 and the respective exemptions are mentioned below. You observe carefully. Here on interest amount also the exemptions are there. According to section 10 subsection 15 IA, income earned from interest, the premium on redemption or any other type of payment received from bonds, notified securities, deposits and certificates can be claimed as an exemption. This exemption is allowed to all types of taxpayers. Okay, it is applicable to all the taxpayers because they invested in bonds, they invested in securities, they invested in they deposited on certificates also. Okay, then here on these type of interest income earned on this type of bonds, notified securities, deposits and certificates, and then exemption is allowed for all the taxpayers here. Then section 10 subsection 15, okay, 2b, interest earned from notified capital investment bonds which have been notified on or before 1st June 2002 is exempted for all individual taxpayers as well as Hindu undivided families. Okay, here if it is a notified in advance, on that income you are going to get or you are getting some interest, it is fully exempted for all the individual taxpayer as well as Hindu undivided family members. Okay, then section 10 subsection 15 I see here, interest earned from notified relief bonds is exempt for all individual taxpayers and Hindu undivided families. Okay, the next section 10 subsection 15 ID, interest earned from notified bonds on or before 1st June 2002 which were purchased using a foreign exchange is exempted from tax. This exemption is allowed subject to specified terms and conditions. The exemption can be claimed by an NRI nominee or surveyor of NRI individual or by individual to whom the bonds were granted by an NRI. Okay, these are the few exemptions which cover under exemption section 10 subsection 15, and we also a little bit more exemptions are there. You observe here, interest earned from securities is allowed as an exemption. Already we discussed in the first one. The exemption is allowed only on issue department to Central Bank of Ceylon. Section 10, subsection 15, interest earned from deposits made with a scheduled bank after availing approval from the RBI would be exempted from tax. This exemption is allowed to a bank which has been incorporated abroad. Okay, the next is section 10, subsection 15, IB. Here, interest income paid to Nordic Investment Bank would be exempted in the hands of Nordic Investment Bank. Okay, the next one here, exemption is allowed to interest paid to the European Investment Bank on the loan that has issued pursuant to the framework agreement done on 25th November 1993. For financial cooperation between the bank and central government, the interest income would not be taxed in the hands of European Investment Bank. Okay, observe carefully here, European investment banks. From that bank also, sometimes we are going to get loan also. On that, some exemptions are allowed. The next one, interest received from the government or from any local authority to whom money has been lent using sources outside India before 1st June 2001 would be exempted from tax. This exemption would be allowed to all types of taxpayers who lend money to the government from all sources outside India. Okay, interest is from the government. So you observe local authority. Okay, government or local authority. Then here what happened? This type of amount will be fully exempted. Who lend money to the government from sources outside India. Okay, you observe carefully here. The next one, Section 10 subsection 15, then again 4b, interest received by an approved foreign financial institutions on a loan lent by it to an industrial undertaking in India under an agreement entered before 1st June 2001 would be exempted in the hands of foreign financial institution. Okay, so you observe here carefully, interest received by an approved foreign financial institution on loan lent by it to an industrial undertaking here. Okay, for them also it is exemption is there. Then next over here, interest received from an industrial undertaking in India at an approved rate on a loan lent to the undertaking before 1st June 2001 would be exempted from tax. The loan should be given for purchasing of raw material, components or plant and machinery by undertaking subject to certain terms and conditions. The exemption would be allowed to all assessees who have lent the loan to the undertaking and receive interest on the loan. Here, interest received from an industrial undertaking in India. Interest here only, I am focusing on interest only. The next, undertaking before 1st June 2001, an undertaking will be written between these industries and the and the assessee. The loan should be given for purchasing of raw material components. Okay, the loan is given to purchase the raw material components only, plant and machinery by undertaking subject to certain terms and conditions. Based on some terms and conditions, it will be applicable. The exemption would be allowed to all assessors who have lent loan to the undertaking and receive interest on loan. Sometimes what happens, they will take the loan, but meanwhile they will take little bit gap. On that gap, they will get some interest also. Okay, that interest amount as well as that loan amounts also exempted for them. The next one, interest received by sources outside India who have lent money to specified financial institutions. Received by sources outside India here, okay, who have lent money to specified financial institutions in India would be exempted in hands of such sources who have lent money. The interest on loan should be at an approved rate and the loan should have been issued before 1st June 2001 here. Okay, approved rate will be there. The rate is fixed in advance only. On that rate only, if they receive the interest, then only it is applicable. The next, interest received by sources outside India who have lent money to other financial institutions or banks in India would be exempted in the hands of such sources who have lent money. The interest on the loan should be at an approved rate and loan should have been issued for specified purpose before 1st June 2001 under an approved loan agreement here. Okay, these sections are, you have to carefully observe. Okay, a little bit confusion also there, no need to confuse. Okay, the next one here, section 15 4F, interest issued by sources outside India who have lent money to foreign currency here. Foreign currency to industrial undertaking in India would be exempted in the hands of such sources who have lent money, and the loan should be at an approved rate also. Okay, in all the sections we are observing that approved rate is the common. Okay, before only it is fixed between the institutions here. The next, interest received paid by scheduled banks on deposits. Okay, interest paid by scheduled banks on deposits who are made in foreign currency would be exempted in the hands of non-resident or resident but not ordinary resident, individual or Hindu undivided family. The exemption would be allowed only when the acceptance of deposit by the scheduled banks was done with RBI approval. Okay, the next, these are the few more sections. Interest received by sources outside India who have lent money in foreign currency to Indian public companies will be exempted in the hands of such sources who have lent money. Okay, you observe carefully, interest received by the source outside India. From outside India, you are getting some interest. On that interest also, it is fully exempted here. The interest on the loan should be at an approved rate. Again, approved rate here observe. The Indian company should be eligible for availing a deduction under the section 36(1) subsection. The company should be formed for providing housing finance, and the loan should have been issued before 1st June 2003 under an approval loan agreement to claim exemption. The next one, interest paid by public sector companies on debentures, notified bonds issued by it would be exempted in hands of all types of taxpayers who have invested in such securities. The exemption would be allowed subject to specific terms and condition. Okay, based on some terms and condition, it is applicable. The next one here, interest received from government on deposits made in notified schemes from the money due on retirement would be exempted from tax. Okay, at the time of payment, the payment is not made to the persons. Then on the retirement only, they receive that interest as well as the principal amount. This amount also tax free and fully exempted amount. This exemption would be allowed to all employees of central government, state government, or public sector companies. Then interest received on securities which are held in RBI's SGL account number is SL/DL 048, and on deposits which have been made after 31st March 1994 for the benefits of victims of Bhopal gas tragedy would be exempted. Okay, there is a separate account is there on from this account, the amount any received by the Bhopal gas tragedy people, they're fully exempted. If they received already, they received for the second time, they are receiving the second time amount is not exempted. It should be, we have to pay. It's not a tax free amount also, we can say we have to, it's a, we need to pay some tax to the government. The deposit account should be held with RBI or with any other notified public sector banks for getting the exemption. This exemption is allowed to the Welfare Commissioner, Bhopal gas victim, Bhopal. Okay, interest earned on gold deposit bonds which were issued under the gold deposit scheme 1999, and interest earned on deposit certificates which were issued under the gold monetization scheme 2015 would be exempted from tax. This exemption would be allowed to all taxpayers who have invested in the specified schemes. Okay, here what happens, suppose you have gold, you invested, you deposit in the form of a bonds here. On that on that gold you are getting some interest, and this amount also fully exempted according to these schemes. Okay, 1999 gold deposit scheme, the next gold monetization scheme 2015. Okay, the next over here, interest earned on investment done in notified bonds which have been issued by a local authority or by state pooled finance entity would be exempted from tax. This exemption would be allowed to all assessees. Okay, you observe carefully, interest earned on investment done by notified bonds. Already some bonds are there. If you invest in these bonds, some interest, the interest will be exempted. Okay, it is a advancedly it is written detailed, then according to that condition we are going to invest in notified bonds. If the notified bonds we are going to get some interest, then on that interest amount it is fully exempted. The next one, interest earned on deposit made on or before on or after 1st April 2015 in all offshore banking unit which is referred under in section 2U of Special Economic Zones Act 2005 would be exempted from tax. The exemption would be allowed to non-residents and resident but not ordinary resident individuals. Okay, this is a based on the special economic zone. The next one here, interest paid by a unit which is located in an international financial services center on loans borrowed by the unit on or after 1st September 2019 would be exempted from tax. This exemption would be allowed to non-residents who lend money to the unit. Okay, interest paid by a unit which is located in an international financial services center on loans borrowed by unit. Okay, here what happens, international financial services center where it is located, then on that we are going to get some interest. That interest amount should be completely fully exempted. Okay, the unit borrowed loans on or after 1st September 2019. Okay, the next exemption under section 10 subsection 15a on lease rent paid for an aircraft. Okay, if an Indian company engaged in the business of operating an aircraft pays a lease rent for the aircraft or for an engine of the aircraft to a foreign government or enterprise, the rent received by foreign government or enterprise would be exempted from tax in its hands. However, the payment of rent should be approved by central government and pursuant to an agreement made before 1st April 1997 or after 31st March 1999, but before 1st April 2007. And here, if the agreement was made between the period of 1st April 1997 and 31st March 1999 or after 31st March 2007, exemption on the rent would not be available to the foreign governments or enterprise. However, if the Indian company pays a tax on the payment of rent, then the tax paid by Indian company would be exempted in the hands of a foreign government or enterprise under section 10 subsection 6bb. However, for this exemption too, the agreement between the Indian company and foreign government or enterprises should be approved by the central government. Okay, here you observe carefully and very interesting here aircraft. Okay, there are few dates are mentioned. According to the dates, the agreement is made before or after or between, then only it is applicable. Okay, and fully exempted for the foreign government because the rent lease are paid by the Indian government here. Then exemption under section 10 subsection 16 on scholarship received for education here. Any scholarship is given by this government, university, educational board, educational trust, etc. for education cost would be exempted in the hands of a student. The exemption would be allowed for all for the full amount of scholarship received irrespective of the actual cost of education. Moreover, the cost of education would not only cover the tuition fee, but it would also cover incidental expenses which are incurred in availing education. Okay, you are getting, while you are learning or while you are going for schools, universities, okay, while your education is happening, you will get some scholarship from the government. This amount is fully exempted, okay, on not only on actual cost, irrespective of the actual cost, okay, amount will be fixed. The amount incurred for any expenses, that amount will be fully exempted here. For example, you are receiving 20,000 rupees per year, your tuition fee is only 15,000, remaining 5,000 also will be considered as an exemption. Okay, I'm giving small example for your understanding purpose only, not exactly getting only example that is 20,000. Okay, the next one, exemption under section 10 subsection 17 on allowances paid to MP, MLA or MLCs. Okay, you observe the politicians, they are getting some allowances. Politician in the sense the MPs, member of parliament, member of legislative assembly, okay, member of legislative council here. For them also, any amount paid for specified allowances to the members of MPs, MLAs, MLCs would be exempted in the hands of such members. The allowances which are allowed to be exempted include the following. Okay, here you observe carefully. What are they here? Daily allowance received by the MP, MLA or MLC. Any other allowances received by the MP under the provision of the member of parliament constituency allowance rules in 1986. Any type of constituency allowance received by the member of state legislature. Okay, any type of allowances that is fully exempted for these three category people here. The next one, exemption under section 10 subsection 17a on awards instituted by the government of India. Okay, according to this section, some awards are given to the some personalities, they are fully exempted here. Any payment made either in cash or in kind following would be exempted from tax in the hands of the awardee. Okay, they will receive in the form of cash or in the form of any kind. Okay, that it will be fully exempted here. An award instituted in the interest of the public by the central government, state government, or any other body which has been approved by the central government in this regard. A reward paid by central government or state government in the interest of public for the purpose which has been approved by the central government in this regard. Okay, for example, here you observe best teacher award is given to the teachers. Okay, then sometimes amount will be 1 lakh or 50,000 or 10,000. That amount is completely tax free amount and fully exempted under section 10 subsection 17a. Okay, the next one, exemption under section 10 subsection 18 on pension paid to gallantry award winners. Okay, if an individual was an employee of central or state government and has received a gallantry award like the Veer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra, or Paramvir Chakra, any pension paid to such individual would be exempted from tax. Moreover, if a family pension is paid to the family members of such individual, such pension would also be exempted from tax here. Okay, okay, for the armed forces people only, they are going to get these awards, Paramvir Chakra, Veer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra. For them here, any pension paid to such individual would be exempted, as well as in advance they are getting their pension also. These two pensions, both the on both amount, okay, it is fully exempted here, and this benefit is allowed for them because completely their whole life they sacrificed for the nation. For them, this government, our government, the state government or central government, giving this type of benefit. Okay, we salute them. Why? Because of them only we are living in a good. We are living very peace and happiest life in India. Okay, they are struggling a lot outside on the border areas. Okay, we salute them and we pray to the family members of their armed forces to be happy and blessings with the God for them. The next, exempted under section 10 subsection 19 on family pensions received by family of individual in the armed forces here. For family pensions received by family of individual in armed forces. If an individual was a member of the armed forces, okay, including paramilitary force of India, and he or she died in the course of operational duty in specified circumstances and subject to specific conditions, the family pension paid to the individual family members would be exempted from tax. Okay, this exemption came into effect from the financial year 2005-2006. Family members includes widow, children, or nominated heirs of the individual. Exemption under section 10 19a on the annual value of palace. Okay, the annual value of one palace occupied by a former ruler would be allowed as an exemption from the tax under this section. Okay, the next one, exemption under section 10 subsection 20 on the income of local authority. If a local authority earns the following types of income, such income would be exempted from tax. Income which would be subjected to tax under the heads income from capital gains, income from house property, income from other sources. Okay, under these heads, we are going to get income earned by the local authority from a trade or business engaged in the supply of commodity or a service, except water or electric supply within its jurisdictional area. Income earned by the local authority from the business of supplying water or electricity either within its jurisdictional area or outside. The local authority for this section would be include a panchayat, municipality, municipal committee, and district board or cantonment board. Okay, on these platform they are getting some income. It is fully exempted. Okay, you observe carefully. That is water, electric base supplying water, electricity either within jurisdictional area or outside also, they are getting some income. On this income, it is fully exempted. It includes panchayat, municipality, municipal committee, and district board or a containment board. Okay, the next one, exemption under section 10 subsection 21 on income earned by a scientific research association. Income earned by a scientific research association which has been approved under section 35 subsection 1 or income tax act 1961 would be exempted from tax. However, the claim of exemption The following conditions should be fulfilled. Okay, these are the conditions. You observe the conditions carefully. The income earned is used or accumulated wholly for the purpose for which the association was established. Okay, the funds earned should not be deposited for any period of time during the previous year other than in the forms or modes mentioned under section 11 subsection 5. However, this condition would not apply in the following instances. Assets held by the association wherein the assets form a part of association funds corpus on 1st June 1973, debentures of a company which the association acquired before 1st March 1983, accretion of shares which form a part of the association funds corpus specified in such subclass, which has been earned through bonus shares allotted to the association. The next over here, voluntary contribution received and maintained by the association in the forms of furniture, jewelry, or any other article as specified by the Board of Official Gazette. Okay, voluntary contribution received and maintained by association in the form of furniture here. Voluntary contribution means for the scientific research association, some voluntary contributions are also there from the public. On that also it is fully exempted. Okay, these exemptions are allowed for the scientific research association. Moreover, the exemption should be allowed to the association with respect to voluntary contribution except the contribution made in cash or kind specified under the above mentioned classes. However, to claim this exemption, the association would not hold the contribution in any other form or mode except the ones mentioned under section under section 11 subsection 5 after the completion of 1 year from the end of the previous year in which the assets was acquired. Okay, this is the condition. Moreover, the exemption would not be allowed to the research association for any income which is profit and gains of business. However, if the exemption is incidental for the association to fulfill its objective and separate books of accounts are maintained by the association in respect of such business, the profits and gains from such business would be allowed as an exemption. Okay, these are the exemptions in the part 3, and few more exemptions are there. You have to bear with this exemption and you have to bear with me. Why? Because it's a lengthy topic. I have said in the previous class only. So we are going to learn tomorrow the next part 4 exemption incomes. So thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Thank you. And those who are not subscribed to my channel till now, please try to subscribe my channel, and which gives me a support and encouragement for me to do more videos. Thank you very much.